Welcome to my bookshelf tour. Before we get into the video, I want to give a general overview of the layout of my bookshelves. So at the top of the main bookshelves, we have my middle grade, which moves down into my Tolkien shrine and fantasy for the majority of the bookshelves. And then at the bottom, there is a small section for writing, comics, and a keepsake shelf. Then on the small shelf, we have the Bridgertons at the top, which moves down into my classics, then moves into contemporary fiction for 2 shelves, then contemporary romance, and at the very bottom, self-help and poetry. Up at the very top, we have this fancy edition of the Game of Thrones series with the Night King on the top, on his dragon, and then this is a vase I got from the Valley Village, and this is a tiny little dragon that I got from Krakow when I went. So this shelf is my romance shelf, as anyone who knows Bridgerton knows, mixed with 2 classics. As you're going to see a lot of, I have weirdly shaped bookshelves and not a lot of space. So most things are organized in kind of like genres, but then there will be random things like these 2 that don't belong there but had no other place and I needed to fill that spot. So, most part, they're organized. I have read up until when he was wicked, so I've started this one, but haven't finished it yet. My goal this year is to read this one, and this one, so the last 3 in the main series, and then these 2 are some extras, some sub-series. This one's about their mother, and I'm not sure who this one's about, but I love Bridgerton so much, so I got the rest of them. Moving on to these 2 classics, we have Emma, very nice fancy edition. My boyfriend got me this edition. And then we have my mother's edition of Moby Dick. Returning the Shmishki is always so difficult. Then, onto this shelf, these are, as you can see, lots of my Penguin classics or the Puffin classics. I consider them all the same. So these are pretty much all classics, except for this one, which is the Penguin Book of Japanese Short Stories. Next to it, we have Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I just love the look of all the cohesive spines. We have this really pretty edition of the picture of Dorian Gray with some sprayed edges, bookmark, very pretty. Junior, second copy goes right there. Then I guess this isn't technically a classic, but it fits, so it goes there. As well as we have these collections of small ones. So Frankenstein, Lady Susan, Flush, and Wenjack. They all go perfectly, if I may say so, on top. As you can see, this section is my beginnings of my Haruki Murakami collection. It also includes Asian-themed books or books by Asian authors. So, move this. I'm moving all my trinkets. This vase I found with the other one that has my dragon on top of it. I got them both at the same thrift store on the same day. So as you can see, I have a fair amount of Haruki Murakami books. This one is in the wrong spot. That one belongs here. Okay, there we go. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Haruki Murakami books. Have I read any of them? Yes, I actually have. I have read this one. His memoir, what I talk about when I talk about running. It was a great book on, well, his running routine, but also his writing routine. As you can see, I took some notes with some little tabs on the sides. Then I have also read this one. This was a great little small book. Very cute, very easy to read. Something else you'll notice is I love to collect the UK editions. Again, some of them, like these ones, are classics that are not in the right section, so this wouldn't fit on the shelf above it. Goes down here with my other classics. That didn't fit up there. As for the books that go on top, How Do You Live? I got this book because I heard that it was going to be used as Miyazaki's inspiration for his latest Studio Ghibli film. Then I got this one recently, Crying in H Mart. My friend gave me this one for Christmas. Then we have this one. I've never actually heard of this one before, but my sister got it for me for Christmas. It is a kind of like supernatural fantasy set in Japan, and it really involves food. It looks like it'll be interesting though. I'm very excited. I love getting books I've never heard of before. And then this one, probably lots of people have heard of it because it was recommended by BTS's RM. This shelf is most of my like contemporary fiction, I think they're called. Things like The Golden Finch, The Secret History, They Never Learn, which was made into a film called Promising Young Women. That's what it was called. I got this because I saw the trailer for the film and I really liked it. Another thing, UK covers, Plain Bad Heroines. Then of course I have Circe and Song of Achilles. And then, again, classics that couldn't fit anywhere else. And To Kill a Mockingbird. Fun fact, I read this book for class, as you can see, annotated it a whole bunch. And my Nana actually kind of sort of knew her. So that's pretty cool. They actually wrote letters to each other, at least once. This is a continuation of kind of like my contemporary romances, as you'll see. These ones here, as well as some that I've kept from my childhood. So this one, really love this one. It actually reminded me a lot of, what's the movie? Rise of the Planet of the Apes. If anyone's read this, please let me know, because I have actually never heard anyone talk about it before. And it was really great. Again, another thing that I kept is Perks of Being a Wallflower. And then this is actually, as you can see by how damaged it is, this is actually one of the first few books that I read, but I decided to keep this one because after I read this, I really fell in love with reading. So I will always forever keep this one. I also have this random Pride and Premeditation retelling that I would love to read, but I want to read it after I've read Pride and Prejudice. I have watched the movie, but I still want to read the book first. Yes, I read it. Gotta love this one. Don't know if I'll read any more of her, because sometimes it was cringy. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I've heard so many good things about this one. Really want to read it. Probably on my 2024 TBR. We have my self-help kind of books, non-fiction type of ones. Then we have more like, these are really stuck in here, so I'm not really going to be able to pull any out. It's because of all of my thick magazines over here. I got a few for Christmas and nowhere else to put them. So yes, these are all like my self-help type of books, and then my poetries and my few magazines that I have. I won't pull it out, but Why We Sleep, I really want to read this year, and The Mountain Is You. Pretty sure lots of you have probably heard of that one. I've read most of them, not all of them, but most of them. I'm gonna very quickly go over this one, as it's really just school notebooks and yearbooks. So this all in front is a shrine from my boyfriend. Cute little things. First perfume he got me. First time we went to the pumpkin patch together. Things like that. Really love it. Keep it here. As I said, this is my high school graduation like folder and everything. My high school yearbooks, school notebooks. These three are my only remaining physical written journals. I used to write my stories, my novels, in these types of journals. I had so many of them. I think I had 60 of them. But I moved a lot as a kid, so I had to get rid of all of them. I thought I actually lost all of them. But a few years ago, my mother had actually kept 3 of these, and ironically, this is a trilogy that I wrote. So, all handwritten pages by me as a young child. So that's really amazing that I still have those. This is actually a book by my Nana's best friend, my Nana's cousin. They wrote this book and published it, so that's why I have this one, because it came from my Nana. And then some other random journals, some diaries to keep, and then the Pictorial Webster's Visual Dictionary. This is like, how do I explain it? Just a collection of random dictionary images. So if you go into a dictionary, say you look for alligator, this picture would be in there with the alligators. Here I have my dictionary that my mother gave me when I believe I was 16, 15. So I do actually have an actual dictionary. And on that topic, this is like 100-year-old tiny dictionary that used to be my mother's. Little random notes in here. And I think it also used to be my Nana's before her. Not quite sure, but I have that right here. And on top of that, I have my 2 conference badge, because I went to the Surrey International Writers Conference 2 years in a row. And then I have just a collection of bookmarks. This is where I keep all my bookmarks. I have A for Avery. Then I have random magnetic ones. And then, yeah, some plum ones. Ones from random websites, local artists. And then, actually, where are they? Let me separate them off for you guys. These, I all made myself, because I am an artist. So, this one is a snazzy dragon. I actually made these in black, red, white, and green, because everyone has a different idea of what a dragon is. This is what the back is. Go follow this. That's one. And this is actually a bookmark I made of 2 characters for my novel, one of them. And on this side, her eyes are open. Flip it over, they're closed, because she goes red when she goes like demon crazy. Closer look. Then I made this tiny Your Coffin or Mine one out of like Kleenex box, I think. I Sharpied the back of this so it was all black. This is for any vampire books I read. I made Find Make Me Your Villain. This is for Shadow and Bone. I freaking love that series. I used this one for like all of them. This is randomly made out of origami paper. And then these ones are all the same, but they're kind of like a stamp with my initials on it. Vampire King type of a stamp. Back to the shelf though. Sorry for the little detour. This is my writing shelf. So all of these are the classic decomposition notebooks. These 3 are empty. All of these are full, dating back to like book 1. Let's see, when is this dated back to? This is 2010. This is 14 years ago. Holy, 14 years ago. I have 14 years worth of story ideas and notes in here. This one, as you can see poking out the top, I have like all of the maps that I make for my stories. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of an in-depth video on these. And then going over this way, we have all of like my how-to like writing dummy type of books. So I've read this one. This is Stephen King's classic one on writing. And then I also have another classic, Save the Cat Writes a Novel. I got this one at the Surrey International Writers Conference when I went. I really want to work on bettering my craft, so I stocked up on these types of books, and I really want to read them. I'm graduating this year, so that's my goal, is to read all of these after I graduate. Moving on, we have my K-pop shrine, and behind my K-pop shrine is my comic books. So let me just move all of these. With all that moved out of the way, a little dusty here, we have my comics, mangas, and art related books. So I only have the first of the Spy Family. I got this one because I started reading or started watching the anime, but then my Crunchyroll subscription ran out. So then I have all of the Blue Period, well, not all of them. I have most of the Blue Period series. I have only read the first one. Got a little bit into the second one, but school got in the way. Then we have this one, which I really want to read. This one's called The Ink Hall. It's really cool. Very beautiful art style. Really want to read that. Then we have like my Spirited Away book and my Neighbor Totoro. I really want the full collection of the Miyazaki books, but they're expensive, so we'll wait on those. And then, as I said, these are like making comic books and then art course type of books. And then I know you can see it a little bit over here, but this shelf over here is like my sketchbooks. So I'll just give you a brief little glimpse. My sketchbooks over here, woo, with bobblehead Bucky, a skull for practice, and a little Van Gogh stuffy whose ear actually rips off. If you know, you know. Alright, working our way back up, we have this beginning of my double stack section. So this shelf above, this shelf to the right, and this shelf right here are all double stacked. So these are going to take a bit longer for me to navigate. Please bear with me. I'm going to move the Shmishki for safekeeping up to the top. So now starts my fantasy section. I got these two books for Christmas. That's why they're on here. The Sword of Kaigen. I am so excited for this book. I've heard so many great things. As well as a memory called Empire. Something you'll notice, I like fantasy. That's why most of my shelves are fantasy. I also have some science fiction put in, but mainly fantasy. So we have Narnia, and then all of the Cursebreakers trilogy. Read this, love this. I've heard great things about this one. Can't wait to read it. Haven't read it yet. Another thing you'll notice, I haven't read a lot of the books on my shelves, but I really want to. Another one, I've heard a few people talk about this one, but the people that I have heard talk about it say it's really great. I have also heard several people talk about this one. Well, actually, lots of people talk about this one. Who am I kidding? Everyone seems to love this one. I really love it. It's beautiful. In the back, we have all of my Leigh Bardugo books. The reason they're in the back is because I've read them all already, and I really love them. Actually, that's a lie. I haven't read these three, but I've read all of these, and I love them so much. You know what else I love? This cover. Oh my god. You know what else makes it even better? The dust jacket. Really love it. You know what else is amazing? This special edition of the Shadow and Bones books. Because I love them so much. And this series actually brought my boyfriend and I together. Because we were friends, and then we started reading them, and then we started talking about them together. So thank you, Leigh Bardugo. Moving on, we have more fantasy. Up top here, we have The Art of Prophecy, and then Finding Fraser, which I got at the Surrey International Writers Conference. I actually have it signed and dedicated to me. And we have some John Gwynne books. I've heard lots of things about this one. As well, I have this one, which is a signed first edition. Right there. I have several signed books, actually. And some of them are behind this. So again, I'm just going to move them all. Alright, back here, we have a lot of my black books. For some random reason. We have some cringy little vampire ones. We also have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, A Darker Shade of Magic, and this super snazzy copy of something I've rarely heard of, but nice flop to it. Alright, here we have even more fantasy. As you can see, really popular ones up here. We have another signed first edition. This one also signed first edition. Have I read them? No, not yet. Babel. I have a small collection of R.F. Kuang books. Then I have all of these Jade City books, which I got at the conference yet again. And you're never gonna guess it, each book is signed and personalized to me by Fontaine. These books hold a special place in my heart. Great, behind we have more fantasy. So over here I have two of my really fancy, like, fairy tale type books. Really pretty inside. This random book that I found at a thrift store, The Wrath of the Dawn. I get another book I have not read yet. I also have some of my Brandon Sanderson books. I have yet to read them, but I really want to. That's a goal this year. I have the snazzy UK covers. Bought the whole series this way. Moving on, this shelf is kind of, it starts with my Asian authors on this side, goes into more of them, into some of my favorite books. And then my favorite author, Alison Saft, I have two of her books. I'm going to move to Shmishki again for good measure. These are some classic ones you have probably heard of. She Who Became the Sun. And I have several Elizabeth Lim books. This one, gorgeous. Oh my god, look at that cover. Again. Oh my god, look at that cover. So beautiful. Then we have The Wolf and the Woodsman. My probably favorite fantasy book I've read last year. 5 stars. Amazing. Highly recommended. As Samantha Shannon herself says, a stunning debut. Another amazing 5-star read. These two are pretty tied. This one also amazing. This is more like a lighter fantasy. This is more hardcore fantasy. Behind those we have, surprise surprise, more fantasy. We actually have my one and only Stephen King book. I don't do horror. I don't like horror. Stephen King wrote a fairy tale. Haha. I got it. It's probably still going to be scary, but I got it. As some of you may already know, these are romance books, as well as this. I have the first Outlander. I started watching the series. Then I went to the conference, and you're never going to guess it. Got it signed by Diana Gabaldon herself. This is one half of my Tolkien shrine. If you can't tell, I love Tolkien. Sword, Lord of the Rings. You'll see this later on. Also, Sword, Lord of the Rings. There's no room for it down here, so it goes up a few shelves. Anyways, back to this shelf. We have this candle, which says one ring to rule them all. I have yet to burn it, but when you do, there's an actual Lord of the Rings ring inside here, so very eager to do that someday. In the front we have this really pretty copy of The Hobbit. As you probably can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies of The Hobbit. I also have this animated Lord of the Rings classic, as well as on my other shelf I have the actual Lord of the Rings movies. And then I am slowly building my Tolkien collection beyond just the Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So this I got before seeing the Green Knight movie. I'm really hoping the book is better than the movie. Lots of my Tolkien collection. This really, really beautiful, stunning edition of Lord of the Rings. Like, oh my gosh. Is it all gonna fit in frame? Look at that. I hope that's all in frame. Very beautiful. Beautiful edition. Found that at a thrift store. I also have The Children of Huron. And as I said, several copies of The Hobbit. So this is a cloth-bound, beautiful cloth-bound version of The Hobbit. This is my copy of The Hobbit that I read in grade, I want to say 6 it was the first time that I read The Hobbit. I absolutely love it. It made me want to become a writer properly. So this is my own personal edition, very first edition that I have. I also have Lurt's up here. He's going to go right there for now. I have this snazzy box set edition of The Hobbit and then the 3 Lord of the Rings books. Super cute, super tiny. Then over here I have the Lord of the Rings classic black bound books. I kind of want them all in that edition too. Then I have the Silmarillion, and then this is by far my most prized possession. This was my mother's copy of The Hobbit with the original drawing that Tolkien did of Smaug over Lake Town. I love this copy so much. It's from, I want to say, I think this is a 3rd edition from 1966. Then over here we have the continuation of my Lord of the Rings books, as well as Nazgul. I also have a tiara up here and all of my Robin Hobb books. I have yet to read these. They're all the UK covers. I also have the illustrated World of Tolkien, the encyclopedia, the medal for the Rings book set, or movie set. And then this one is one of my favorite Tolkien books I have, Unfinished Tales. Very beautiful book. I apologize in advance for the odd angle. This is as far as I can reach. It's really high up. This is precariously balancing on my nightstand cable. So here we have, if I move my Brave Funko and my 2 Harry Potter Funkos, we have my whole Harry Potter collection. I actually got all of these secondhand except for the first one, which is the Slytherin 20-year anniversary. I am a Slytherin, had to get it. I have yet to read them, though I started this one. Then I have some random little books that wouldn't fit anywhere else. And then the first 3 books in the Graceling series, I read these when I was younger. I really want to reread them. They are another book series that really made me fall in love with reading. This is where my Lord of the Rings sword is, so I'll move that for right now. This is lots of my middle grade books. Again, Wolves of the Beyond series. I read that when I was younger, just like the Graceling series. And I really want to rebuild my collection. Like I said earlier, I moved a lot, so I had to get rid of a lot of books when I moved. Slowly rebuilding my collection. Then we have the Golden Compass series, I have yet to read, as well as the Dracula's hiding in this corner. You probably can't see it. But again, had nowhere else for it, so Dracula goes up here. I also have Winter's Promise. I've heard lots of great things about this series, so another series I really want to read. And that concludes my bookshelf tour. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you saw some books that maybe you'll look into. I know I love looking at covers of books. If they're really pretty, I'll search what they're about. And yes, I will judge it by a cover and buy it if it's got a pretty cover. See, I do the camera. I do the camera.